We have some people coming in. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Everyone's coming in now. I'm glad we're all inside today on this yucky day. It's really starting to snow out there from at my house, so I'm glad we're all inside safe and sound. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Welcome to everyone coming in now. Welcome, start of snowfall. Thank you, Nazar. That's a very positive attitude about it. I don't know if I can be so positive. I'm not a big fan of the snow. It's definitely beautiful, but it just makes things a little bit more difficult. Yeah, definitely happy we didn't have to do this in person today. And I'll just let you know, the last presentation at 3 today is on winter driving. So that's really appropriate for today. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Majan. Nazar. We have 25 so far. Hi, Glory Lee out in Stonewall. Vladimir, welcome. Good afternoon. It's very strange because I can't see you. I can just see your names popping up. So it feels a little strange to be saying hi to you all. But I know you're there. Hi, Pena. Oh, you're welcome. I hope everyone enjoyed it. You're welcome, Ellie. All righty, so what time is it here? So Lorinda, we have just wait a moment or two. See how many we have. 36 so far. So I'm just reminding everyone that we can't see or hear you. So if you have a comment, everyone's been really good about typing their comments or questions into the chat at the bottom of your screen. We also have a little icon, say it, called Q&A at the bottom there. If you want, you can use that as well for questions at the end, for questions from the presenter. But everyone's doing a great job of using the chat. So we will address the questions at the end. So I think I'll get started now. So first of all, welcome to everyone. This is the 8th and second last presentation of our 3-day Senior Immigrant Safety Expo that we're happy to present to you thanks to funding from New Horizons for Seniors. So I'd like to start off today by doing a land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that Manitoba is the traditional land of the Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. And we are coming to you today from Treaty 1 territory. So I'd like to welcome and introduce Lorinda Fosty. Is that how you say it, Lorinda?
That is correct, yes, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So Lorinda Fosty is an instructor, online facilitator, and certified career coach. She has a teaching background of 27 years. Many of those years were spent full-time in private college environments. During the last 2 years, Lorinda has been facilitating online courses, which she has found both challenging and rewarding. She enjoys working with a diverse group, including international students and seniors. So that said, welcome, Lorinda. Thank you so much for being here. And I think that's all the things I had to take care of before we start. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really happy to be a part of your Safety Expo. Hopefully I can give you a lot of information today that will help you to be a little more cautious when you are working online. So just give me a moment to get my PowerPoint presentation shared with you. Okay, just backing it up here. It didn't come in at the beginning. All right, does that look okay, Maureen? Can you let me know if that's?
Yes, that's great, Lorinda. Looks good.
Excellent. Thank you. So welcome today to an introduction to privacy online. I will be presenting for approximately 35 minutes, allowing for some questions at the end, which I know you're familiar with the process from maybe having been through a few of these presentations already. I want to do the same. I want to acknowledge that we are located on Treaty 1 territory and in the heartland of the Métis Nation, and we recognize the mistakes of the past and believe in reconciliation, cooperation, and moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities. Just to take a moment to introduce myself, you've gotten a pretty good idea of my background. So my name is Lorinda. I am pretty new to online presentations, I guess I would say, since COVID started. So it's been about a year and a half that I've been presenting online. So it's challenging. It's been a huge learning experience, but one that I really enjoyed. I will tell you a little bit about Tech Manitoba, who I am presenting on behalf of. It's a not-for-profit organization here in Manitoba that provides free technical courses to really anybody that wants to take them. So we are a digital literacy program, and you'll find our programs are sometimes advertised in the newspaper, perhaps on Facebook, you might see some advertising. I know that at one point it was even advertised on the news that there are courses that we offer that are free courses. So if you're interested in taking anything that is free, I'm just going to put the website on here. You can visit techmanitoba.ca/classes. And you could sign up there for any of the upcoming free online courses. Some of the ones that I have personally been teaching, I just did one, started one last week actually with seniors. We're focusing on an introduction to iPad. So learning how to use your iPad well, just starting right from the basics. You buy an iPad, how do you use it? So it starts from the basics and works all the way through various different parts of the iPad use. I've also had teaching experience with Microsoft Word, Excel, Intro to Computers. There was one on just using images, whether you're using your phone or your computer to work with photos and things like that. So there's a huge variety of classes that are available. So I just wanted to let you know that up front. Tech Manitoba is provided with federal funding that allows us to provide the courses for free. So that is something that you may want to consider for the future, and hopefully you've had a chance to write down the website to visit if you are interested. So let's get right into the presentation. I will never be able to, in half an hour, cover everything that you need to be aware of when you are working online, but want to give you really some of the basics, some of the things to be aware of, some of the things to really be cautious of when you're putting any information online. So you want to really think about how much personal information do we put online? We're using sites now like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. A lot of people are communicating through WhatsApp now, communicating back to your home countries using WhatsApp. So often we are sharing a lot of our personal information when we're online. And even if we are asked to, we're setting up an email account, you're asked for a lot of your personal information. If you're setting up your banking online, you're asked for a lot of your personal information. If you were setting up even a medical account, even if, for example, you were trying to obtain your vaccination status or your Manitoba vaccination card, you have to enter personal information in order to receive those things. So some of the information that we're entering it to places that we know that information is secure. For example, if you were ordering your immunization card, you can rest assured that that website is keeping your information safe and secure. But when you're on a site such as Facebook or Instagram, information that you're entering in there isn't always staying secure. So that's the kind of thing that we want to talk about today, and just start thinking about it and being aware of what you can do to limit what you're putting out there. Sorry. So can you keep your personal information completely private, 100% private? I don't think so. I don't think that you can, because there are so many reasons now that we are going online and we are being asked for some of our personal information. So some of the things that you might be including or might be asked for would be things like your full name, your address, social insurance number, etc. I would recommend probably never putting your social insurance number online, entering it into any site for any reason. There are other ways that if somebody needs your social insurance number, that they can collect that from you. I guess there may be exceptions to that if you were, for example, anyone applying for employment insurance probably has to enter their social insurance number and perhaps old age security and things like that. But again, you are making sure that you are on a government site that is going to be 100% secure. So we want to be cautious because there are so many places that we are asked to enter our information. So when is it safe to do that? And when is it not safe to do that? There's all kinds of websites that you'll notice throughout my presentation, just down at the bottom, that feel free to write them down. You can research them a little bit further if you'd like. If you have a cell phone, you could take a picture of the screen if you want to be able to get these additional websites. They give you just a little bit more detail than what I might be covering today. What we want to be aware of is that with our personal information online, if it's ever compromised, it's compromised forever. So we want to not get ourselves into situations where our personal information is compromised. So personal information, again, can include your full name, your address, your social insurance number, your phone number, your age of or date of birth, your children or other family members. So these are pieces of information that the term hackers are always trying to get this kind of information. And they're trying to sell it. They can either use it or they can sell it to somebody else that will use it. So they are looking for this information so that they can do things, perhaps get a loan under your name. They can pretend to be you and they can get credit cards under your name. And it's very difficult to stop those things once they happen. So this kind of information, be careful where you're putting it. Make sure that you are on secure sites. Government sites will be secure. Facebook will not be secure. And hackers have ways to get information that it doesn't look like you're doing anything wrong. If you were, for example, on Facebook, and I saw probably 2 or 3 of these things this morning when I was on Facebook, there are games or things where they will ask you, if you wanted to find out, for example, what kind of a person you are by your zodiac sign. They're asking you to put in your birth date. And they're going to come back with something, oh, you are a loving person and you have a pleasant way with people. They'll come back with something, but what they've really done is they've gotten your information from you. They found out your birth date. You gave it to them willingly. I gotta say, I'm guilty of playing the odd one, but I don't put in personal information. Sometimes it may use a picture. That's probably bad too, but I don't put in anything that requires a month of my birth or a day of my birth date or a year of my birth date, anything like that, because it can really allow them to gain information. And I know that IT providers in places that I've worked have said that is one of the biggest ways that hackers get information on people, is those games that people like to play, those little find out about yourself on Facebook. And that's typically where you will see them, is on Facebook. So this is all information that you need to be cautious where you provide it or who you provide it to. Very often, you may get emails or text messages from thinking like places that you would think that are safe. I use Rogers for my cell phone, and I have received emails and text messages from Rogers that if you don't update your information with us, your account with us will be closed. Click on this link now to update your information. When you click on that link now, they have a way of getting into either your phone or into your computer and installing what is called malware. And when they put malware in, or key logging is another term, when they install those things, they find a way in through a link that you click on. When they install those things, you have given them access to everything on your computer. So that means that they can probably get into your banking. They would watch what you're doing with your banking. They could recognize a password that you're putting in. They would be able to track your keys, which is why it's called key logging. They track those keys and they would be able to know and gain access to your information. So be cautious of anything that comes in that is, it almost is presumed as a threat. Do this or you will lose access, or we'll close your account, or something like that. That's an easy way in for a hacker. They scare you and they want you to click on it. I did actually fall for that once. So I will share my example. I received an email from, I assumed it was Rogers. And it was telling me if I didn't update my information, they would close my account. So it looked to me like it came from Rogers. I checked the address. I went in. I got so far as I updated. I said, my address is the same. They wanted a new credit card, making sure the credit card was the same. And this was many years back before I knew a lot of these things. I put in my credit card. And then too late, I thought, was that wise to do that? So I phoned Rogers and I said, did you send me an email? And they had not sent me an email. So what I had to do then very quickly was contact my credit card company, cancel my credit card, and have a new credit card issued, because I had just willingly given them my credit card number, expiry date, everything that they would need to be able to use my credit card. So that was one of my experiences. Fortunately, the only one I've had so far. So that's something to be really aware of. But if you're unsure, if it looks like they're threatening you, saying that if you don't do this, this will happen, that usually is a hacker that is trying to get your information. What do? Phone the company. Phone somebody to make sure that it is an accurate thing before you do something that you're going to regret. So why do we want to protect that information? Because personal information is often traded online. There's a lot of things that can be done with it. When they get somebody's personal information, they can steal your identity. There are lots of movies out there that people's identity have been stolen. And they start to do things like getting a loan under your name, or getting credit cards under your name, or buying a car under your name. Once they get your information, they steal your identity, they're able to do those things. It's a very scary thing. And I certainly don't want to give the impression that you want to stop doing anything online. You don't. You just need to be aware of some of the common things that can happen when you're working online. You can be impersonated. If they gain your information, they can act as you. If you use Facebook, you may have seen somebody say that they post a message saying, my account has been hacked. Don't open anything from me. That means that a hacker was able to get into their Facebook account and starts acting as them. And what they will do is they will send out a message to everybody that you're connected with. Those messages will be something like, some that I've seen, Lorinda, check out this video. Is this you? And if you click on the link, you give them access to your entire Facebook account. So be cautious. Those types of things are happening quite often on Facebook, even through email. I received an email not that long ago from one of my best friends. I thought it sounded a little unusual. She would normally send me an email saying, hi, Lorinda, how's it going? What's new with you? We were just recently on a trip. Here's a picture I wanted to show you, something like that. This one email came in and it said, hi, Lorinda, check out this picture I took. And then her name. But that's unusual. I'm not sure that she would send me something like that. So I phoned her and I said, I got an email from you with a picture, with a link to a picture or an attachment. Should I open it? She said, no, I didn't send anything. So somebody hacked into her email account and impersonated her and would have sent that email out to everybody in her contacts. So that's a scary thing, because it's not only what can they do to you, it's if they can get into one person, then they have access to, in some cases, hundreds of contacts. So they can then try and connect with all of those people and try and gain their information. So a hacker's goal is, if they target 1,000 people, if they get one bite, they call it phishing, not spelt the F-I-S-H, it's spelt with a P. They call it phishing. They will phish. If they send out 1,000 and they get one, they win. They only need one. There's stories on the news all the time about, and seniors. There's been quite a few stories of seniors that have lost their entire bank accounts because of, well, not necessarily online hackers, but some of them, but somebody tricking them, somebody trying to get their money. Another common one would be an email comes to you from a family member, or you believe it to be a family member, and they say that they're stranded somewhere and they've lost their passport, they've lost all of their money. Can you send them some money? And we want to help family. We love our family, so we want to help them. Be careful. That is a very easy thing for a hacker to do, is to impersonate somebody. I had that one as well, experienced that in my work environment, that it was a time where the instructors were on vacation, and I had an email from one of the instructors saying that she was in England and she had lost her passport, she'd lost all her money, and could I click on that link and send her some money? I thought, well, this could be true because they are on holidays, they are on vacation, but I asked somebody else that was still at work, did this person go to England? I said, no. So that was another one where they're trying to pretend that there's somebody that you know, somebody that you would be close to, somebody that you would want to help. So there's that impersonation factor. And they can pull that off pretty well. Another reason they would want identities is if they're trying to find somebody. That's more of a case where I think young children are in danger of this one, where they're found online. So they connect to people on Facebook that they think they're talking to another child on the other end, and it ends up being a stalker or a sexual abuser, and they end up in contact with that person. That person can find them, often by just information that they're giving, the name of their school, the address, where they live, anything that a person is typing in that somebody can find. So that's a number of reasons why you have to be really, really cautious there. So how does that personal information get lost or get spread? A good portion of it is people are sharing their information on social media. People are saying when they're on vacation and where they are on vacation, and they are putting their addresses out there, and they are putting just any basic information about themselves onto social media. And there are hackers on social media all the time looking for, they're phishing, they're looking for a chance to try to get somebody's identity, to get into somebody's bank account, to get into somebody's email, to get into somebody's Facebook account. So many reasons they want in there. It could also be a data breach. So they're online hacking of your email account. Banks, sometimes they call this whale phishing, where somebody might, a hacker might attack a bank specifically and try to get into that bank to get everybody's information. They're not often successful, but sometimes they are. There was one not too long ago with Canada Revenue, where they were hacked into and some information was taken. It's up to that institution then to correct that situation. But most institutions, government sites, anything that you're going into that way, they have very strong, what they call firewalls, to prevent hackers from being able to get into their systems. So it's more that you need to just be careful with your own things that you're doing, social media and on email and those types of things. So some of the things you can do to help maintain privacy, you can consider using an alias online. So consider using a different name. Maybe change it to a nickname. I know my niece does that. She does not have her full name on Facebook. She uses a nickname. Lots of people will do that. Only connect to accounts you trust. Even if you get an email from places that you think are trustable, your credit card company, for example, double check if something seems unusual. If you are to add in more personal information than you're comfortable adding in, make sure that you phone them before you add in that information. Might take you half an hour to get through to them, but trust me, it will be worth it. If you ever suspect anything suspicious, check it out with a phone call. Another thing that you can do is get a virtual private network. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail in a moment. Be really careful on social media. Be careful with giving out too much personal information. They say never to say when you're on vacation. Never post things that are habits that you might have. So for example, if you post something that I'm going out today to my daily therapy session, whatever it might be. Maybe you go every day from 1 until 2. If you post that, you've let somebody know that you're not home for that hour of the day every day. If there's a hacker looking for a way to get into your house or what have you, you've given them that information. So be careful what you post on social media. Avoid sharing things you want to keep private. The internet is not private. Once something is out there, it's out there for forever. So what is a VPN? Just briefly, they're popular because your location stays private. So VPNs are something that you have to purchase. There is a cost. So they might cost, I'll give you a site that you can look at after this presentation if you wanted to check it out, maybe $5 a month, something like that. But if you feel that in your home, you have a secure Wi-Fi that has a password, you probably don't need a VPN. VPNs are used more when you are perhaps using a laptop in a coffee shop or using your cell phone in a coffee shop, or you travel often and you are signing into Wi-Fi's in other locations. Then a VPN would be a helpful feature. Your location stays private, your data becomes encrypted or coded, and you're really surfing the web anonymously. So be aware that if you are using a Wi-Fi outside of your home, try to use a Wi-Fi that has a passcode to enter. It will be more secure than one that doesn't. If it doesn't have a passcode, it is called an open Wi-Fi, which means any hacker that happens to be trying to get into those locations can get into any information that you've looked at while you've been using that Wi-Fi. So if you were in McDonald's on your phone and you were using the Wi-Fi in McDonald's, you are opening and you go into your bank account. Anybody that's trying to hack in will be able to get into your bank account. They'll be able to see everything that you're doing. So if you had purchased a VPN, and they can be either for your computer, your laptop, your cell phone, it will keep those things safe for you. So here is a website if you wanted to look into it, find out more information about what they are, what you can do, you can check that out. So if you're writing that down, or if you want to take a picture of it, whatever is easiest for you. If information happens to be leaked, distance yourself or try to correct it. I gave you the example of, I know that I personally gave out my MasterCard information to what I believed was Rogers, and it wasn't. I didn't distance myself. I tried to fix it right away. So lock down your credit profile. So what I had to do was close my credit card and get a new one. That's a nuisance because that takes time. So not getting into these situations in the first place will help. Close old bank accounts Open new ones. If you think that somebody might have gained access to a bank account, close it, open a new one. Notify people. If you think that, and in the case where I said my friend sent me an email, or I thought she was sending me the email with an attachment, and it wasn't her, that was her email account had been hacked. So what she should do in that situation is email everybody in her contact list and let them know what happened, that someone has gained access to her email, and to warn everybody to not open any links or attachments that might come from her. So try to help out the people around you.
Lorinda, we have about 10 more minutes.
Okay, thank you. So mitigate your risks by understanding why you need to keep personal information private. I hopefully have explained that well enough to you. Constantly watch over your online identity. So make sure that you are checking privacy policies and things like that. Check if you're using any social media, any of the WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. In the settings, there is always a portion on privacy. Make sure that you go through those privacy settings and you're not giving out all of your information to them. You can use a VPN or the virtual protection. So that can definitely help, or use an alias, use a different name. Avoid disclosing information to people online through unsecured networks. So that's where I mentioned the open Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi that doesn't have a passcode. I would be leery of opening anything like your banking or your credit cards or anything like that outside of your home computer and your home Wi-Fi, just because there's always that fear that somebody could gain access to it. Okay, so be careful with giving out, disclosing information through email. People, those hackers will pose as bank people. They will often say, I've actually had Royal Bank sending me a lot of text messages lately saying to update my account. I don't even have a Royal Bank account. So the number one clue that they are a hacker. But a bank also would not contact you that way. They would not ask you to update your information through email or through a text message. They would phone you. If they're asking for confidential personal information, they would do that by phone. We also have a digital charter in Canada that protects a number of things. There's an additional website down at the bottom there. It grants all of us, say the right, there are laws that are in place for all of our digital things that we're doing. So it gives everybody the right to be able to use the digital accesses. It helps to protect our safety and security. They do a lot of control. If you ever have something that you know is a scam, you need to contact somebody with this Canada's digital charter. They have lots of parts to it. Transparency, we're supposed to be able to trust our resources coming from the government to be able to use and to place our information online without having to have such a big worry about doing that. So there is this protection that's offered. There's a level playing field. There is data and digital to be used for good things and not negative things. It's to be, anything that's posted is to be free from hate and violence. And all of those things are strongly enforced. So Canada does have digital laws in place. Facebook, for example, will shut somebody down if they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing on the internet. If they're saying or making comments that are racial or really negative comments, they will actually shut that person down. So there are laws in place. If we have a scam you think is a scam that's coming from your bank or your credit company, call those people. They will report it. Reporting it is important so that it puts a stop to it. Doesn't stop all of them, but it will stop as many as we can. I have a video, but I'm just going to complete my information and go back if we have time to watch it. So everybody has what we call a digital footprint. It's every post you make, every photo that you put out there, your age and your gender. We have biographical information that is out there for everybody to see. You can usually find, I know if I Googled my dad one day and I found where he went to school, where he graduated from. Just Googling a person's name, you can find out a lot of information. Our statuses, our posts that we make become part of our digital footprint. The contacts that we have, the interests that we have, our geographical location, every website you visit, everything that you're doing online becomes part of what's called your digital footprint. Anything somebody posts about you as well. So in other words, every action online creates a digital trail. We are actively involved in creating that digital footprint. We post, we comment on social media. Sometimes we're filling out online forms, might be a survey or an evaluation from a company that you've worked with. Or we agree to install cookies when you're prompted by your browser. Cookies are a way that a company will use to be able to see where you've been on your computer. So for example, you might look at something, you might shop for something, or you might look up what something is. All of a sudden, you're going to get ads about that are going to be on your internet, on your phone, whichever way you've done it. That's because cookies are there. And cookies are trackers. They track what you do. Lots of websites that are legitimate websites, for the most part, will tell you they're using cookies. Airlines, for example, colleges, they install cookies. They'll tell you they're installing them onto your computer. They help you when you go and look at information in the future. They know the type of information you're looking for. But some websites do it without disclosure. So that's where you're going to end up getting a lot of ads and things. If you are just looking at something, I look up a recipe, for example. They'll tell me they want to install cookies. I block it because I don't need and want all of that coming in. They're not necessarily a negative thing, but they can certainly end up getting a lot of access to information. Apps and websites that use geolocation are ways that you're leaving a digital footprint there, and target advertising based on things that you are looking at. You'll get that target advertising. And all of those things will leave a digital footprint. And I believe this is our last topic here. So this is 6 steps that you can do to reduce your digital footprint and to really reduce what you're putting out there. Google your name. You can try that to see what comes up. Double check your privacy settings on social media. So on any of the social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, any of those that you might be using, go to your settings and check what your privacy is set at. Always have strong passwords. Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4. That is one of the first things a hacker will try. 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll also try your name. They'll also try your birth date. Another reason they're trying to find birth dates. When you create a password, try to use a combination of letters and numbers and symbols. It makes it hard to remember them, but write it down. Write all your passwords down, not beside your computer, but somewhere where you know that they are and you can find them when you need them. But make them complicated. Keep your operating system and browsers and software and everything up to date. Review your mobile use, your app permissions. Lots of times when you download an app or you purchase an app, they will ask you for permission to access your contacts or access different things on your mobile device or on your computer. Just make sure you're not accessing too much. Maybe they don't need access to all those things. And build your reputation through your own behavior. So be cautious what you're putting out there. Make sure you're putting out things that are professional and positive. And I will wrap it up with that and just let you know that some of the things just to pay the most attention to, I think we've talked about, that would be your privacy settings, and your passwords are really important. And don't click on links that somebody, either a company that you think you can trust or a person you think you can trust, if they seem unusual, because those are the types of things that can get you into a whole lot of trouble.
Thank you, Lorinda. You know what? It's such an important topic, so I don't mind going over. We have 3 questions, I believe, so we're going to quickly go through those 3 questions and then wrap it up.
Okay.
So we had one on chat. If I delete my Facebook account, does all my information disappear?
I don't think that it would be completely gone. It's always going to be there somewhere. You would definitely lessen somebody's ability to get into it because you wouldn't be using it anymore when it's deleted. I would think you would erase most of the risk for sure, but would it be completely gone? I don't think anything that you ever erase online is ever completely gone.
Wow, that's a scary thought. And then from Clarita, we had, is there a way to check if the email address is coming from a legitimate source?
Yes, you always want to make sure that it matches. Make sure that it doesn't have like a funny name attached to it. So for example, if what you're seeing in your line of where it's coming from, where it's been sent from, is not matching when you hover over it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it'll look very legitimate, but when you hover over it with your mouse, you'll see that there's some sort of a personal name in there or something that shouldn't be there. Yeah. And that's a quick indication that it's not a legitimate email.
Mm-hmm. And Karina said she deactivated her Facebook, but when she went to restart, it was all still there. So that's, thank you, Karina. And then Nazar, what is cybercrime and how can one remain safe from it?
Cybercrime is a lot of what I've been talking about, and that is where the hackers are trying to get information from you. So how do you stay safe from that? Be very aware of where you're disclosing your personal information.
Yeah.
So if you know specifically that you are logged into your bank account and you're on a secure network, then you're okay. But if you get an email from what you believe to be your bank, be cautious of what's there. If they're asking you to confirm your password,
Yeah.
that will never be your bank.
Yeah.
It will never be. People that are asking for money, even if it looks like it's legit and it's a family member, phone that family member.
Yeah.
That's where most people
If you
get
have a
taken.
little spidey sense going off, then you're probably right. I've had that happen myself. So
Yeah, if you feel something isn't right, it's not.
yeah, exactly.
I can guarantee that in every situation that I've found myself in,
Yeah.
if it didn't seem right, if it didn't feel right, it wasn't right. So don't act. Even when I was doing the one with my Rogers, I thought was my Rogers account, and I was typing in my credit card number, I was thinking, should I be doing this?
Yeah.
I definitely should not have been doing that.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but that information was so helpful. A little bit scary and chilling. I actually went into some of my social media and made sure my privacy settings were all okay during the presentation. So thank you so much, Lorinda.
Very welcome.
And yeah, that was great. So before we go today, I'm just going to announce we have prizes that we'll be mailing out. And the winners this afternoon are Anjan, Francisco, and Izana. So you'll be getting a gift card in the mail. And thank you for attending. Actually, it is important that I do mention that later on today, you will be getting an email from us with a link to click on, but it will be it will be a survey asking you what you thought about the whole Safety Expo. We want to know your thoughts and opinions and what you thought about everything. So I'm just giving you a warning. Watch for that email. It's safe to click on. The email will be coming from Karina Lowen. So it'll be C. Lowen, actually. So that's important. So that's it for this session. And we have one final session at 3 p.m. all about safe driving and driving as we age, and so important today, winter driving. So thanks again, everyone. I'll see you all at 3, except for Lorinda. Thanks, Lorinda.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Bye.